There's an adage created by the VR community that goes, everything is better in VR. And while not entirely true, as I have experienced certain genres that in fact do not work that well, like fighting games, the adage is, for most parts, accurate. VR breathes new life into gaming, be it old titles that got VR ports, or flat titles, new or old, that were modded to VR. This is a new series I've been working on, and I've got so many titles to add to it. Kicking things off, I've got what's perhaps the greatest gaming experience I've ever had, VR or otherwise, Skyrim VR, with mods of course. Now while Elder Scrolls V Skyrim was released way back in 2011, receiving glowing reviews, 10 out of 10s, and long afterwards to this very day, still being heralded as perhaps the greatest game ever developed, I've never touched it. Not because I wasn't interested, but other factors. First, I'm hardly attracted to what the masses are attracted to. At least not in the same way. The more hype surrounding anything is the less interested I'll be. A wise man once said, Earl Nightingale actually, the masses are always wrong. And my history has proven him correct on many counts. So I didn't hop onto the bandwagon. Not as a rebellion against popular opinion, but simply because despite all the hoopla, nothing grabbed me saying Skyrim was a must-have. I had better things to do. Then in 2017, Skyrim was released on PS4 and with PSVR support. By the time I got a PS4 and learned about VR, I was interested. Interested, but in no hurry to check it out. When I was sponsored a PS4 Pro PSVR bundle, the headset was left in a box for months before I even touched it. I thought like many other things the masses were wrong about, VR was another one of them. This time I was wrong though. When I finally hooked up my PSVR, my first VR experience, I was hooked, and there was no turning back. VR is what I've been waiting for since I started gaming in the 80s, even without knowing it. So I grabbed all the VR games I could, and Skyrim was one of them. However, as most know in the VR community, vanilla Skyrim VR, be it on PSVR or PCVR, is borderline unplayable. And maybe that's hyperbolic. You can experience this in its vanilla state and have a good time, I guess. But you'd be missing out and only be having a good time because you didn't know any better. This takes me to the next level of my journey with VR and Skyrim. PCVR and modding. Yeah, I got a MetaQuest 2 next, so standalone VR was technically my next step. But in an effort to not stretch this essay out any longer than it needs to be, I'll skip my standalone step on the journey and save it for another video. So, I'm now on my PC VR leg. Grabbed Skyrim again, this time on Steam, but still the standard version. I started my research on mods. At this point, I had very little experience with modding, and figured my PC couldn't handle it anyway. I still took the step, as the videos I saw online on modded Skyrim were like night and day. You can have actual hands, a body, interact with the environment and more? Count me in! I did what I could, even streamed my progress with a first impression stream in 2023. You can check out that video, it's still up. I don't usually delete my past streams. If you do, you'll see my modding efforts were rough. Real rough. So I took a bit of a hiatus. What am I saying? I took a long hiatus. Didn't revisit Skyrim VR until this year, 2026. For the past 3 years though, my hardware improved, and so did my knowledge of mods. I've modded several other VR experiences, UEVR, Dr. Beef, and a bunch more. My hardware is still not where I'd ideally like it to be. I'd like to start running around in the yard with the big dogs, using Mad God mods, Luke Ross and such. But for now, I'm grateful to at least be on the porch with the pups. I'm still getting a lot done in my limited capacity.
God's above, look at that. So you really are.
So this brings me to present day. It's not until now that I've realized that Skyrim VR is indeed the greatest gaming experience I've ever had. And it's because of this realization and my almost decade-long experiences in VR that I'm now motivated to create this series. One I'm truly passionate about. As although I hold firm that one does not outgrow gaming, we grow into it, as it is consistently evolving, and is not, as some ignorant persons may believe, just for kids. I've lost the spark I once had. That spark that had me up till wee hours of the morning in single or multiplayer sessions, going to sleep, waking up the next day, eager to get back to it, thinking about an experience all day, waiting with bated breath for a particular new release. I've lost that spark, but VR has partially relit that fire, and is now my preferred way to engage with this outstanding hobby. Although I've never played Skyrim flat, I've been flat gaming for decades and can confidently say Skyrim is indeed better in VR. And when looking back at flat videos online, I know I wouldn't be having the immersive, captivating experience I'm having now with Skyrim in VR. First, let me list some of the mods I'm working with. There are videos out there telling you which mods are mandatory, but to each their own. There is no one size fits all. However, those videos aren't entirely wrong either. There are at least 3, maybe 4 that if you do not use, you may as well stick to the vanilla version. I use SkyUI VR for a more user-friendly interface. Spellwheel VR. Again, this provides a better interface for interactions with quickly accessing your weapons and spells. Vrick, which gives you the arms and body. Higgs and Plank, which realistically adds accurate physics with hit detection, grabbing, telekinetic interactions, two-handed weapons interactions, and more. Static mesh improvement, cathedral weathers and seasons, immersive sounds, and a few others. I'm not going to go through every single mod I've installed because, like I said, there's no one-size-fits-all mod list. It's about what you feel suits you best. Convenient horses is a perfect example. I've never seen or heard this mentioned in a video or post before. I just didn't feel comfortable riding a horse while my companions, who I grew quite fond of, are walking or running behind me for miles. Wasn't comfortable with that at all. The vanilla version does not allow my companion to have a horse, but the mod Convenient Horses does. This mod also allows you to store inventory in your horse's saddlebags. Some may not give 2 shits if their female companions are running behind them like slaves, while they ride all through Skyrim. So to each their own.
Gold solves most problems, doesn't it? Of course.
And this video series is also not a mod guide. It's about why games are better in VR, but I have to mention the mods because they play a key role in experiences like Skyrim being better in VR. I mean, there's even a mod available that allows you to change the face and physical appearance of your wife. A lot of the things I'm about to mention, the things that led me to the conclusion that of all the literal hundreds, maybe thousands of games I've experienced over the past 4 decades, Skyrim VR indeed tops them all. May have you think that this guy hasn't played too many deep story-rich RPGs like The Witcher 3, Cyberpunk 2077 and such. And you'd be correct, I own some of them, but as I get more mature, up in age, I'm not able to invest as much time as I used to when I was running around through Final Fantasy VII on the PS1. But that brings me back full circle to my point, and the point of this series. Is because of VR's immersion, the possibilities VR create, the possibilities that were once impossible, why I've become so interested and invested in gaming again. Invested and interested to the point that I'm making time. The fact is, most times when anyone says they were or are too busy, it's simply a matter of interest. Interest that can lead to better time management, and that's what VR has done for me. Given me reason to rearrange my priorities, hence why I'm digging up a title probably older than a lot of you watching. I suspect that Skyrim is an experience many who have engaged with it never actually completed. Much like the GTA series, there's so much freedom that it's easy to fall prey to distractions which lead to disinterest. Most cats praising Skyrim and its VR version, talking about all the fantastic mods that their super CPUs allow them to experience, haven't a clue what the story is about. Which brings me to my first element of Skyrim. I'm actually going through the story, the campaign, and not just running around being a curious, mischievous tourist. The story here is amazing from the very beginning. The unraveling of who you are, your purpose, your growth, from a prisoner on death row to the mighty, respected, and feared Dragonborn. Then, there is the world surrounding the story, the virtual life you lead on your journey. From escaping execution, the introduction of dragons, killing your first dragon, learning of your abilities, the respect you earn from your discoveries, the way the world grows with and around you. You're given a housecarl by the Jarl of Whiterun after slaying your first dragon and appointed Thane of Whiterun. Lydia is basically your slave who will follow you and do whatever the game allows you to ask her to do.
It's our wedding day. I feel like all of Skyrim is focused on just the two of us.
You can, however, marry her, or many other ladies in Skyrim if you approach them correctly. But Lydia will put up no resistance once you have secured the Amulet of Mara.
Do you agree to be bound together in love, now and forever?
I do.
Once you've purchased a house, get married, Lydia can be assigned to stay home.
Splendid. There's a house available right now. Wonderful. Here's the key to your new home.
She will open a store and give you a cut of the earnings every day, cook you a meal, and speak to you more as a wife and less like a slave.
Goodbye, my love.
Then you can also adopt up to 2 children.
You really wouldn't mind? Yay! Thanks, Mr. Papa. I promise I'll be the best daughter ever.
Once you have a house with a room for them, they will give you things, greet you, and ask you for an allowance and gifts when you get in.
You're home. Could you give me an allowance?
So like I said, what I'm saying, to those who have already been in and through Skyrim, this is nothing new. But to me, this is some groundbreaking stuff. This ground has been broken since 2011, and in VR a long time ago, but this is all new to me, and I have reason to believe not many other RPGs can hold a candle to Skyrim to this day. I'll hop into Witcher 3 once I'm able to experience it properly in VR. Because again, no matter how good Skyrim was or is flat, experiencing it in VR is a whole different beast. In a world this huge, where so far I've only encountered one invisible wall, which I think has something to do with progression requirements. In a world this large, there'll be fast travel options, but sometimes when you have to travel for distances, it's an epic experience in VR. On your journeys, the things you'll experience, like wildlife running about, passing random people, some friendly, some not so much. Things randomly unfolding like a public execution, all of which you can interact with should you see fit. Just riding from one point to the other, taking in the sights like the modded night skies, the changes in weather. I mean, it's not all perfect and perfectly lifelike. Like I said, you can buy a horse for your companion, but I once saw a horse I wanted to give to my companion. I wanted to instruct her to take the horse. She wouldn't. The only option was to have her kill it. If she took it, not only would it add to the immersion, but it would have saved me some money. There's probably a mod out there that could fix that though, who knows?
If I would have known it would come to this. Mother. Keep Mother's staff. Think of it as payment. I want to leave everything from this cursed place behind.
Even the side quests felt meaningful. It's probably because of these side quests why many get distracted from the main story.
Really? You're who she picked? I hope she knows what she's doing.
When I think about the main story, I actually wonder what I'll do when it wraps though. I'm genuinely in no hurry to see the credits roll on Skyrim. When it's over, other than just doing side quests and exploring, what else will I have to do? Where will I go? I'm probably going to Fallout 4 VR next, but somehow I doubt it or any other game out there can even come close to Skyrim VR. And I'm certain there's so much more I have to learn in Skyrim, as it's also not a very hand-holdy experience. Moments like these absolutely cannot be this impactful in a flat experience.
You have sought out the forbidden knowledge, but only one other.
I could go on and on about Skyrim in VR, but this video has to end sometime. This isn't a review, a let's play, or anything specific aside from games being better in VR. So why did I make it? Because I've always loved making gaming videos and sharing them with others, and watching them. Since I was a kid in the 80s, recording Sega Master System and NES videos onto a VCR cassette. I'll be doing more. I've got a decent lineup of other experiences that solidifies VR's purpose and impact on gaming. VR has been having a rough time since it left the new fad phase days, with layoffs, shutdowns, and refocuses by companies and developers. Either way, I'm not the least bit worried. VR will be fine, it's too amazing not to be.
Dangerous knowledge is still knowledge and therefore useful. Usually turns out to be the most useful, in my experience.
Thanks for watching. Watch the TV series, The Lab Video Game TV in 25 Caribbean countries on Flow One. Download the Stream Blue app to watch on the go. Check out The Lab Video Game TV's gaming news every Thursday at 4 p.m. during the Sage Projects on Ontario's Island Radio 101.3 FM and the live streams on YouTube, Twitch, and Trovo Live. If you like my content, feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment, and hit the notification bell and whatever other bells and whistles are available. If on the other hand, I found a way to piss you off with this drawn-out video essay, feel free to take the obvious course of action. Dislike, unsub, leave a fiery comment in the comments section expressing your disgust with what you endured on this fine day. Either way, I won't hold it against you. Our game is never over.
Our training, Dragonborn. We would speak to you. Stand between us and prepare yourself. Few can withstand the unbridled voice of the Greybeard.